No, it's fine. All right. I have 73 subscribers right now. Overall. The tournament starts in 10 minutes. Okay, I should probably start my stream earlier. Okay, I think we can... Okay, I can remake it if people don't show up, but they should show up. Also, today the first round of the problem persists. Huh? The article I can see. The broadcast I cannot see. There is Chess TV. The streamers list. Okay. There is no broadcasting. Okay. They're probably changing something. I don't know. They'll update it. Hello, Mr. Falcon. Good evening. The link to the tournament is in the chat. Pinned. The code to the tournament you know from the previous events. It's the same code. Am I live? I should be live. Yeah, I'm alive. Okay. The mistakes are there waiting to be made, said Savelia Tartakover. You know what I like about Lichess is they have these cool phrases, very famous phrases of famous grandmasters. And Tartakover was considered to be one that was pretty witty, but also, also pretty experienced. So he knew what he was talking about. Hello, link to the tournament is at the top of the chat. The code you know. So put the code you used in the previous events as the same code. Mr. Falcon and Mr. Rafa, you are both subscribers, so you can join the event. Drinking, is it Earl Grey?
Yes, today.
Yeah. Drinking Earl Grey tea. My number one favorite tea, of course, is Indian, but Earl Grey is second. Quite interestingly enough, I read on Facebook a story how originally it was China that was specializing in tea, and then there was some guy from Europe who wanted to break that monopoly, so he went into China and he lived there for a few years. He passed for Chinese, I think, and he managed to get some seeds and leaves out, and they planted it in India, according to that story. And of course, then, it became very popular everywhere. Not sure if this is true, again, but something I read. Hey Magic, again, you're all my subscribers. Feel free to join the events. There is a code to join the events, but if you've been playing these events recently, then you know the code. I mean, it's very difficult to set up the arena, Otherwise, you know, everybody just joins it. So I need the code. Yeah. If you don't know the code, send me a message on chess, you know my name there. I'll close the screen, I'll darken the screen to return the message, and then you can use it. So got 5 minutes left before the start. Ideally, I need another 2 people in the event so we can actually start it. Time control is 5-3, so you have time to think. It's Fischer chess, 2 hours. After the arena, I'll probably look at some games from the European Team Championship that started today. All right, let's see. Somebody send me a link. Okay. All right, let me darken the screen for a second. Okay. Enable autoplay for sounds. Huh? It's kind of weird. Okay. Have more people. Okay, let me check. Okay. You just send me. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So, alright, we need one more person in the tournaments. One of you. Mr. Falcon or Magic or any subscriber, please join the events. Once the event starts, then you can come and go as you please. You don't have to stay for the whole event. But we kind of need people to start it. Okay. I'm curious, are 2 people enough? Yeah, maybe it's enough, but I think 3 is ideal starting point. Today is Sunday, right? So people know I have an event on Sundays. Yep, there was this Bundesliga, but I asked the boss organizer of this tournament to take my club off because, you know, temptation too strong for people to cheat against me. But thanks to these guys, now the rest of the people, honest people, they don't have a chance to play against me anymore. Yeah. So all these guys can thank all these 2 selfish, cheating dudes for that. Yeah, last event there was actually much more than 2 people that I reported. It was was actually like an unbelievable amount of people. Like maybe 5 or 6 that I felt like were. One of them were not so obvious, but like the rest of them were so obvious. I was very disappointed. Alright, if nobody wants to do the Fischer chess, then I can go home early. That's fine with me. And I'll be done with the stream. So tomorrow I'll start the second World Chess Championship match coverage. And I was thinking I'll do probably throw a chess. Thanks for the raid. Thank you so much. Hey Pavel, good evening. Alright, the tournament has started. Okay, thank you for the raid, Froy Chess. If you guys are my subscribers, then you can join this Fischer Chess Arena 2-hour. This is very good for your chess, okay? There's no theoretical bullshit nonsense. You have to think from the very first moves and, you know, use your own brain for a change, okay? No more that, you know, cheat books like how to play in the opening or catch people on some preparation lines, yeah. Here you have to use your brain and actually use it actively to defeat your opponents. Hello, Mr. Monserrat. Alright, we got actually 4 people now on the channel in the tournament. You can use the old code to join the event if you're a subscriber. The code is still good. King c2, wow. Can you guys see the board? Ah, you cannot see the board. Alright, let me move it. Let me move it. There. Should be able to see it, yeah? Alright, hello Mr. Emma Magic. Is the board skewed? No, it's good, yeah? Alright, it's fine. B3. I'm a big fan of closing the bishops right away. Big fan of closing the bishops. Which is why I love the Slav things, yeah? Especially against fianchettos. It's not a bad move, but it's a little bit passive, I think. You can play a little bit more active chess if you want. If you want. So how do we develop here? Yeah? Big question. Well, I think d5. If you let me get the center. Taking center is good in any chess. Taking the center with your pawns. It's like taking a strategic position in a battle, on a battlefield. d4. If you play d4, Okay, I can actually close the position because when you have a knight on e1 and you can play e4, that kind of screws this knight a little bit. Okay. Also closing the bishop, more or less. Yes. Yes, I have to spend tempi, but I think it's worth it because you're gonna need tempies to develop this guy. This guy comes to f6, and the center is protected, I think, good enough. Does this look like French reverse to you guys? Yeah, it does, no? It does look like French closed a little bit. Kings are kind of safe, yeah, at the moment. Alright, so knight f6 is promised. Alright, through chess 27, thanks. Oh, you raided me also. Thank you for the raid, by the way. Sorry, I didn't see. I was thinking about the position. Thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Because just like 5 minutes before you, I got raided by Froya Chess. So I was like very confused. Okay. Yeah, h5 I probably don't want to play because then you can play h4, put this thing here. Although h5 is reasonable actually. There's nothing wrong trying to keep this knight strong. Why not? This knight is actually pretty good. So let's keep him. Prevent all this g4, g5 stuff. Yeah. So let's do that. Take. Yeah, the only thing I'm concerned that white has a noticeable lead in the development. That's the only thing I'm slightly concerned with, but if you play moves like g3, then I have enough time. So let's finish this. Building the center. Let's finish that. Knight goes to f4, I guess. So let's develop the bishop with the tempo and hit this pawn. Because if you play knight f4, now I can hit him with g5, yeah? Kind of needed 2 more moves to get the knight to f4, but... Yeah, but if you play this, I can hit him. And you have to go like to e2 or something, yeah? And then I can play h4 to stop your h4. And that should be better for me. But on the other hand, I don't see much danger in you allowing some things. I mean, if you play h4, my bishop or knight gets very nice square here. So the big question, where does this knight go? And I think just putting him here, finishing the development is good. It also looks like King's Indian reversed, yeah? A little bit. So, bishop g2 is not good. You don't develop your bishop here because it's looking at the pawn. It has no function. Serves no function. The bishop should be on the open diagonals. So you know how to castle, right? You click with your king on the rook. That's how you castle. King on d2 is pretty safe, yes. Pretty safe. So, how do we play here? With limited... Yeah, he's gonna try to, you know, put stuff on the only open file. You can see that. So how do we play this position? Good question. Knight on f6 kind of serves his purpose. This knight is okay. King is safe, yeah. The queen doesn't do much, and it's useful to connect the rooks. So let's do that. The only question, where does the queen go? I think it should go here. Because if it goes to g6, potentially there is some knight f4. So we don't want that, yeah. We don't want that. Okay, finally white gets something here. And if I take this thing, and use my rook, which rook? Probably this rook. Because this rook, like, you know, hits the pawn. Rooks on the open files, always. That's where they belong. Rook on h3 will be pretty bad. So we have superior bishop. White has a nice bunch of weaknesses, which is nice. Queen g2, does it make sense, to be honest? Probably not. I don't have to trade the queens, by the way. I don't have to trade the queens, so I can play this. Because white does not have this rook g3, which is kind of important. And also we're starting to connect to this pawn, yeah? This is the Achilles heel of my position in this pawn chain, in addition to this pawn being weak as well. Also, this rook is kind of ugly, has no squares. And black plan is also to put potentially this knight on f3, looks pretty strong. But I think the best piece here might be even the rook. Okay, because then we're gonna hit this pawn like with everybody. Hey Spring, did you see Levy's crushing win? No, I'm not interested in you know, I don't even watch elite events. I'm not even talking about some IM YouTuber. You know, why would I want to watch his games? Makes no sense. I did watch the end of the Naka versus Gukish, where Naka just outblitzed poor Gukish. I mean, Gukish position was superior, but in the blitz, his nerves just completely went bad on him. And he blundered absolutely everything. Yeah. That's experience in playing blitz games. That is having an experience in the blitz games where it comes and comes. Thank you for the game. You're welcome. Yes, I felt Gukish was better. His problem was that his king was open and he had no time. That was his biggest problem. And in the blitz where you have no time, having your king not safe is a huge disadvantage, which Naka used to his effect like tremendously, of course. Of course, being a bullet and blitz player he is, so I'm not surprised. Alright, you're giving me the pawn, I'll take it. I'll take this pawn. So when you have rook and queen like this, it makes sense to, you know, push pawns here, supported by the heavy pieces. Okay, more pawns. Let's go. Let's get more stuff. Why not? So he has a small lead in the development because he sacrificed the pawn and now he develops his pieces. So the big question, is it worth the pawn or not? I don't know. Guess we'll figure it out together. Okay, so we need to develop the center, yeah? So let's do that. Also take some squares under control. Get this bishop some air, potentially. You want to trade this defender. Okay. The bishop on g7 is the Grunfeld King's Indian defender. It doesn't matter which chess you play, Fischer or classical. If you have the bishop and then castle king next to him, it's universal, okay? This guy is a defender of the Royal Majesty. So, if you're attacking him, you need to get the defender out. You played the first OTB game of the season on Friday. Is there any chance you could analyze it? Okay, I'll take a look at it for sure. I mean, you should have done your first analysis, right? So, How did you do, by the way? Okay, but I can play this first, yeah? I mean, get the rook in business. In this shady business. This bishop is protecting the king, which is fine. King is standing next to the rook. Rook is getting some air. So the only piece that I feel does not play much is this bishop and this knight. So we have to work on that. Alright, since you played this move, you're giving me a tempo for the e4. Also closing your bishop. Yes, it leaves this pawn a little bit weak, but, you know, chasing the central knight, I think, is a good idea regardless. It's weak, but it is extra, so it cannot be bad. Okay. So let's grab this thing, open the rook. Also, if you guys remember, I said that when the pawn is on e4, the knight usually is best placed right behind it. So consider that. However, he took with this thing. Okay, if you take with this pawn, that means my bishop should be somewhere here, yeah? Should be somewhere here. So f3 with the idea of d4 should be carefully considered. Or you can consider the long voyage by this bishop here to d1 and then to b3. And keep this pawn chain intact so it protects the king. Okay. So there are several ways to play this position. And another way, of course, is to do something to this bishop, like hit him with knight a5. But first thing first, I need to develop pieces, yeah? Also, again, this bishop is kind of... is he good or bad? I don't know. I feel like this bishop still should be developed. But if I will leave like my pawns the way they are, it's gonna be a problem. Yeah, so actually I think I have to play f3 and go for the central expansion. Also, bishop can come here now, yeah? Which is another possibility. You drew? Okay, so it's not bad. Okay. I don't think I'm blundering anything, so let's go d4. Both bishops are now operating. They're actually not that bad. So the only thing that I'm missing is this knight. Also, this potentially creates d5, but I was thinking here b5, yeah? So this knight can actually go to f2 sometimes. Sometimes. Knight f4. Okay. Right, let's chase the bishop. And trade the queens to ensure, you know, wait, you just blundered bishop c4, yes? Admit it. Wait, I can also take the bishop, yeah? Right, I'll take the bishop. And then I'm threatening this. Yeah. It's pinned forever, so no rush to take it. Reinforcing the threat. You're wondering if your style would be the same as online? Well, okay, only you know the answer to that question. Also, you're like putting so much on one game, man. First game is nothing. First game is absolutely nothing. It's like, you know, that famous blin phrase, yeah? The first crap sometimes might be exactly crap, yeah? So a little bit more confidence in your abilities. Just recognize you made a mistake somewhere, admit it, learn the circumstances, what led to it, etc., do the work, and then go next to the game, next to the second game with the, and you're better prepared. Okay. So, in this game, let's see. Yeah. See, computer takes the center, which is fine. And you gave me the pawn, which is e4, knight f6. Yeah, h6. Okay, but take. f3 is fine, d4. Okay, I played like a freaking engine, yeah. Wow. I played like a freaking engine. Okay. Again, go for the space. Yeah, chess is not that hard. Go for the space. Make sure your pieces, first, most important, your king is safe. Okay. If somebody gives your king a checkmate, it doesn't matter how many extra pieces you have, doesn't matter how your pawn structure is, doesn't matter how strong your attack is. If your king gets checkmated first, it's game over. Okay. So king safety is critical. And again, then pawn structure, functioning of the pieces, harmony, and etc. etc. Yeah, these principles are eternal. It doesn't matter classical chess or Fischer chess. In Fischer chess, they are way more pronounced. All right, we have 4 people in the tournaments. I think I played Rafa and I played Magic. So the only one I'm not playing is Pavel. He is in the game versus Magic, yeah? Yeah, they're in battle. Wow. This is Battle Royale. This is very hard to say who is better, okay? So approximate equality here actually sounds pretty good. But the nuances are the key. A4, just making sure that your king is absolutely safe. Yeah, I mean, why not? Yeah. Why not? All right, how come this game doesn't show? It shows only my game, yeah. But why it doesn't show people game? Only when I put the mouse in, yeah. That's when it shows. Okay. So, both sides are playing pretty reasonable chess. Preparing for the massive trades on the only open file. Makes a lot of sense. Black managed to get this white knight out of f5 by playing knight e7. While the second knight is ready to hop to d4. So the only difference is that white controls the square while black does not. Okay. Which is why white's position is slightly better, because of the simple control over the square. It is not completely symmetrical. But it's not enough. It's not enough to win. Rook h5, I think, is a mistake. I think that was a mistake. And actually now white has advantage. So remember, like when you look at your position, you should always check the current status of all your pieces. If any of them are doing something or not doing something. If they are not doing something, put them somewhere, or think of the ways to put them to good use. Okay, it's called maneuvering. And black pawn is attacked. Ooh, that was kind of important, bishop. But okay, maybe. Considering it's a close position, the knights are very good in the close position. Yeah, I can see. I can see why this move was played. Yeah, now there is this crazy situation. Both bishops are suddenly open. Suddenly. They were like dead closed, and now they're both open. Things are really weird. Things that are happening are really weird. So who is better and why? Probably nobody is better, yeah? Nobody is better. And that was a blunder. That was a straight up blunder. Very unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not sure, Pyle, why you didn't play just knight f2 and, you know, went for a draw, because you're not better. You were not better. All right. I don't know, guys, if you think, okay, the simuls should stay subscribers only, yeah? But if you feel like arena tournaments should be open to the public, then you get more opponents for you to practice. Maybe there is some sense in that idea. G4. Yeah. It's very interesting when both rooks are on the G and B files, yeah? Very interesting. All right. If there's going to be a next Fischer Arena, I'll test that assumption. I'll open it to the public so you guys can play with everybody. E4, taking the center. Interesting. All right. Also, the pawn is hanging, yeah? The pawn is suddenly hanging. All right. Let's challenge white supremacy in the center. That's also kind of has a strategic drawback, yeah? Okay. All right, I'll deal with this strategic drawback in a few. I mean, is it really dangerous or something? I don't know. It's kind of annoying, yeah. It's kind of annoying, that's for sure. It's kind of is annoying. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of my position suddenly. I'm not impressed with my position. Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like my position now. Very interesting play by white here. Very interesting play by white. Okay, knights out of the corners. That's my rule. Get those knights out of the corners. That's the rule that I made for myself. Queens should not be going anywhere in the first few moves at all. They should not. Should not be moved. Hikaru throwing Gukesh king into the crowds? I didn't see that. The way it sounds, it is extremely disrespectful. But that's a standard Naka thing to do. That would be... I would not be surprised if he pulled that trick. I mean, what else can you expect from the guy who wants to win so much? He flags me king and rook versus king and rook, okay? Unfortunately, that side of him never disappeared, okay? That desire to win at any cost. It's one of the things about this American grandmasters that not a lot of people like. If it is true, I don't know if it is true. I hope what you say is true, because my comment is based on what you said only. Anybody else can confirm that? Or it's just... Okay, c5 has to be played. I don't think there is any doubt about that. Because, you know, all this was prepared. So in Star Trek Next Generation keywords, the orchestra is hired. Everyone is ready. And it's time to see if you can dance, yeah? The music has started and it's time to see if you can dance. Yeah. Alright, let's grab this. c4 is probably better, to be honest. Also closing of the knight, removing bishop from active position. But I want to see if this is also playable. I think it is. Although bishop on a5 is kind of annoying, yeah. That is true. Developing with the tempo. Normally a good thing to do. Queen c3. Well, if you allow me to play this move, then I'm pretty happy, actually. And then I can play this, yeah. Fix the square for my knight. And I am pretty happy, yeah. g5. You don't have to take. This is not checkers. You can pass. And then you can activate the knights. But maybe not the best move. This bishop on a5 is actually surprisingly... He was one of the good pieces you had, and you trade him for my bad bishop. Why would you want to do that? So you can improve the knight, but now you can also giving my knight the square, yeah? It's always a trade, isn't it? You get squares, but you give squares too. So the trick is you have to assess correctly whether what you give is more than what you get. All right. It is true? Okay. Yeah. That knight c3 was a big surprise. What? What knight c3? I thought you were better. Okay, let me check quickly. You were better, but then you started... Okay, d4. 4, d5. Bishop d3 apparently is not that good. Okay, I had to play e5. Wow. What's e5? 4. Queen a6? What? What is this chess? Oh, with the idea of castle. Wow. And white cannot avoid this d file being opened, yeah? Wow, okay. That was not easy to see, okay? I'll tell you that. It was really not easy. Queen a6. You play in the center, then you make a move on the king side, and then queen goes on the queen side. You have to see the whole board. My god, that was far from easy. Okay. Knight a4 and c3, yes. But also, you had to play c3, knight c2, okay? Bishop on a5 was fine. You had to play c3, knight c2, and you were, I think, more than okay. All right? You would have been more than okay. I'm a big fan of closing queens, bishops. Huge fan of closing pieces. Fair enough. Okay. But on the other hand, okay, that's not clear, yeah? Okay. Okay, fine, but I can play this anyway. But you get a tempo, yeah? You get a tempo. You get a huge tempo, actually, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of you getting a huge tempo. Okay, let's see it. I want to see it. F4. Let's play it. Let's play it, dude. Let's go. Because I got same ideas you got. Oh, we have director joining the game. Stay on page. Yep. We got a 5th player in the tournament. And now this is getting pretty interesting, I would say. I'm a big believer in center. I would say this is passive. C5 maybe. Try to interrupt my pawn chain. But okay, not bad. What he is waiting for, if I play g4, he plays bishop d5 and I lose my queen, okay? That's one of the things that is possible, I guess. So let's castle and make that impossible. Was that in the Alice in the Wonderland movie where she says that there are 7 impossible things I want to do before breakfast? Was it Alice in...
Yes, but I'm not sure about movie. It was in the book.
It was in the book.
Yes.
Yeah, in the movie I'm pretty
Not
sure.
about doing, about believing.
Believing.
Impossible things.
Believe. How many? 7?
As far as I remember, it was 6.
6?
But when you believe 6 impossible,
Okay.
it's not impossible to believe.
UK guys, you know this Alice story better than anybody. Was it 6 or 7 impossible things, and was it doing or just believing in them? All right, let's get our queen some air, yeah. Ah. Okay. Okay, let's... Safety, king safety! And onion soup. Good traditional French onion soup. Yeah. All right, so you see I'm very happy with my pawn chain here. It kind of made black play very precariously with his pieces. The knight goes here, not... The reason I put this knight here and not like here is because this I think is best place for the knight again. Protecting the pawn chain, taking care of some squares under control, but most importantly overprotecting this pawn chain. So the only thing is left to do is to improve my queen and this bishop, which will be a huge task. Yeah, for real, but not an impossible one. At least not an impossible task. Knight f4 is interesting, but I think is wrong. You know why I think it's wrong is because you're putting yourself into potential pin. I can actually play c4 and probably bishop e3. And then you have huge problems with the spin. Huge problems. Let's test this theory in practice, shall we? Don't care about this pawn as long as I win this knight. Okay, 6 impossible things before breakfast. Okay. All right, thank you, Vera. My wife posted an excerpt from the book. Hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it. You cannot give me such strong bishop. You know, you could have played bishop d5, queen h5 and tried to use this counter pin for something. In general, you should not give away such a strong bishop after just... He became a monopoly holder on the light squares, man. And all my light squares, like, they're all... Okay, grab the knights, obviously. Obviously, we take the knights. And it's a good question where the bishop goes, but probably here. So we can keep pressure on this pawn. And at the same time, we can play bishop c3 and protect this pawn chain, yeah? Which one is more important? I think this is more important. That's why I thought rook g8, rook g4 is maybe a little bit better for you. Okay, I'm very curious about this position. +1, yeah. In the opening, e takes f5, bishop takes f5 is an advantage, yeah. Okay, I thought so, but now black is better. Wow. And white is better again after e d6, which I didn't even look at. I was so protecting of my square. Yeah, but c5, knight b6, and castle, long castle you should do, yeah. And then you play c5, okay? Not c6. And this position here, g3 is better, but okay. Yeah, okay. Piece down, no compensation. Wow, what a weird position. Bishops on b2 and b7 like perfectly neutralize the queens on the long diagonals, yeah. Yeah. '93, very interesting. Not the move that I would have played, but okay. Logical. Yeah, that bishop on b1 with the knight on c3 and the pawn on c2 is kind of killer bishop, yeah, potentially. Potentially this bishop will come out one day with a vengeance. All the pawns are blocked. Well, high turn now. Yeah, this is kind of crazy game. If you guys notice, not a single exchange has taken place. The position is kind of open also. Looks open at the same time, yeah? It's kind of crazy. Yes, Mr. Tiranmao, thank you for joining. And actually g4 and h5 make a lot of sense, yeah? I mean, to me it makes a lot of sense. Because that white queen on h1 will be in for a huge wake up, yeah, at some point. Also with the bishop on b1, he won't be able to castle to the queen side. Absolutely crazy. Crazy game, man. Mr. Tiran Mao, you just joined and you already get to play. H4. Okay. I'm a believer in the center play, so I'll play d5. I am a believer. Yeah, not e5. e5 was also very interesting, but I think c5 is a fine move. How do you protect this pawn on c5 though? It's a good question. Narrow the Fate kind of looks nice, protecting this h7 square in the future. But the future is now, and we have to make a move. The bishop has no future here, so that's good to know. That is good to know. Okay, bishop d6 is logical. Looks logical. So I don't like it though. For some reason I really don't like this move. Yeah, the c3, f3 is very interesting. Potential preparations for the move, for the pawn grab in the center, yeah? But which one? This is like so confusing. Which pawn grab? Where do you start? Where do you start to grab the space? Big questions. Yeah, d4, okay. Then I should probably take this. Then I should take this, yeah. Queen d4. Queen d4 is... not expected, but maybe not bad. All right, let's just play 6 for now. My queen on g8 is now sad, but Hopefully that will change. Tempo. Yeah, surprising white is still better, yeah. That bishop on b1 is very strong compared to my bishop. And I still need a tempo. So, yeah, and this h4 now with this bishop. Against the French structure, this is actually pretty good. That is actually pretty good. More tempos. Trying to develop my pieces to useful locations. It's probably not the best idea in the world, yeah. Yeah. I need this knight somewhere though, not sure where. So I put it here. This knight goes here. Connects with the other knight, helps the center. And then decide what to do with the bishop. Yeah, I think at some point you have to start pushing your pawns. So f6 is logical. Finally the queen comes out. Preparing also e5, bishop here. Okay, queen trade. How many queen moves you made in this game? Like so many queen moves, yeah? Okay, definitely this. And this for sure. These knights look kind of weird. They look kind of weird, man. But maybe okay. Okay, I think it's time to ask you some questions. With regards to your pawn structure and your knight placement, I just don't believe in this. I do not believe that your knights are well placed, sir. grab everything. G1 was probably better, but okay. I think at this point it's semantics. Just don't play king here and lose the rook to g4 check. That would be unfortunate. Yeah, okay, let's correct mistake. Put the rook here. Immediately. Yeah, this is probably not the best move. Rook d7 you can play, yeah? Let's see, rook d7. G3. Yeah. Pick up the pace. Yeah. Time management is important. Yeah, always. No problem, Mr. John Mao. So now you know what the problem is. Time to start working on it and try to play faster and try to calculate faster. Okay. Usually what happens is that if you play slow is that you don't trust your judgment. Okay. And the only time you don't trust your judgment is if you know you're missing something and your calculation is not up to the standard that you want it to be. Okay. Normally, the other times you're in time trouble is because you either think too much in the opening or something. All right, central knights, not bad. Queens in the corners. Yeah, we're getting a lot of starting positions with queens in the corners. Yeah. Not cool. That is not cool. Like b3 check, yeah. Nice. Okay, so a4 then. Take the square under control. Okay. Both bishops operational. Isn't that the modern word? Yeah. Operational. Lock and loaded. Then I can play this, yeah. Kind of give me a tempo for that. Yeah, g6 is very provocative, man. I mean, maybe it's not bad, but to me it looks extremely provocative. And I don't need to be provoked much, yeah. But maybe it's not bad. I don't know. We'll see. Kind of hard to say right now. It's kind of hard to say right now. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's nothing special. Maybe it is nothing special. Wait, your bishop is hanging, man. There's double attack. What are you doing? You should take and play f6 because your knight protects the pawn. You just blundered. Dude. My god. The rook is not going anywhere, yeah? Yeah, the horrible thing after a blunder like that, the whole game just completely collapses. That's what happens. When you lose your key bishop and you have all these holes here, that's when you know you have problems. Should just take the rook, but okay, whatever. At this point it doesn't matter anymore. How do we win this as fast as possible? No idea. No, even the foggiest idea. Okay, man. I don't know what you're doing, but if you want to give me everything, thank you for your generosity. Yes, and when people don't resign when they queen or rook down, I usually start promoting all my pawns to different minor pieces. Kind of nudging my opponent to understand that he is playing lost cause. There are positions that you can still play. Yeah. Even they're bad, lost, but you can still play. But there are positions that you should just resign. But that understanding comes with practice. So it's fine. Fine. I just remembered when I blundered like really badly, and then I just played automatically until I realized I'm dead lost, and then I resigned. That happens. Okay. Well, Ponomarev was pretty famous, yeah, of course. Of course he was. But that tenacity is sort of like help him a little bit, yeah. Pavel, why are you giving me pawn? Fine. It's only second move in the game and I already can take white's pawn. Isn't that nice? Actually, without compromising my pawn structure or anything. That's good news, I'll take it. I'll take that pawn. Okay, based on your time usage, I guess that pawn sacrifice was not intentional. That is a safe bet to say, pretty much. So white now has to visualize all kind of things he's going to do to my king along the e file, which I don't quite see. Okay, so there's this knight h5 idea coalescing into this idea state. Fair enough. Fair enough. So how do we deal with this threat? Wait, what was that? That music? Oh, that was another raid. Oh my god, the Tian raids. Welcome, raiders. Well, you came from the French channel to the English-speaking French now Federation, dude. All right. Thank you for coming. Burley Sandals, thank you for gifting. Yes, I know it's Etienne Bacro raid. Thank you for the raids, Mr. Etienne. Mr. Bacro. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm facing this position and I'm not sure, like, I'm actually thinking that white has compensation here, surprisingly enough. Surprisingly enough for me, I think white has compensation here. So I will do this move that I really don't like, but why not? The new musics are incredible. Yeah, I love them too. Oh, I thought they were gonna play bishop f6, knight g3, and then do some wild stuff. Okay, if you play like this, then I'm confident that black is better now. And I have full confidence that black is better. Bonsoir à tous. Bonsoir. It is 960 chess, correct. I mean, what else do you think I can grab white's pawn on second move? Nowhere else. Well, 960 sounds better than 609 chess, yes? For sure. I'm pretty sure Bobby meant 960 chess. All right. What about this knight on c8? Where are we gonna put him? Where are we going to put him? Probably here, yeah. Probably here. And then I want to play this. I don't want to play d5. I want to play this. I want to be adaptable and maybe even this move to close this bishop. All right. You know, Pyle, when you start to play faster, you actually start to play better. .960, I have actually huge respect for 960 chess. I think it's better than classical chess for sure. It forces you to think for yourself instead of borrowing all those books, lines, theoretical knowledge. Here you play real chess. with your brain function being the only limit to what things you can think of. And you cannot prepare. You cannot prepare in a game where you don't know what the starting position is. And I do know a lot of professional players love this as well, because nobody loves slaving, analyzing, you know, Catalan or Italian for like your 10th year in a row and still trying to achieve an advantage with white or smooth equality with black. And at some point you're thinking, my God, when this will ever end? And guess what? In Fischer chess, it can end. All right, let's close the bishop. Okay, knight h7. And we're ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to rock and unroll, maybe. All right, c5, actually, let's keep this thing closed. And this knight on d3. Queen a4, endgame. Yay, let's go. Pavel knows how I love the endgames. It's actually very interesting. Very interesting. Huh. I guess the biggest question is, dude, where is my advantage? I know you expected, dude, where is my car? But no. That story was told already, but not by me. Yeah, probably actually should have kept the queens on board. You know, once when I played in a similar position, queen a4, and offered to trade the queens, Grishuk just went queen b7. Not exactly this position, but a similar position. And then he proceeded to hit my king, and he won that game. I remember that disaster. This knight on h7 is absolutely horrible. It looks absolutely horrendous now. But okay, fine. Let's bring him back, admit the mistake, remaneuver this dude to a better place. Okay. Bishop c3, I was a little bit surprised. It was a pleasant surprise. Oh, my time. I was thinking, and my time also started to run. Huh. It's kind of surprising how one extra pawn and still not enough, yeah? If your opponent is resourceful. Wait, I just gave him pawn back. My God, I thought I protected this pawn. Hallucinations. Nobody is protected against that. Against the hallucination business. Yeah, now it's just equal. Wait, why do you play 94? Why not 95? I don't get it. Simple and sound knight d5, but okay. You wanna play 94? That's fine with me. And I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit this thing. My God. I'm just very curious. Bishop e4. Yeah, knight c6, okay. Okay, take. b5, knight f4. Oh, wow, actually white is okay here. So knight c6 was a mistake, apparently. All right, good to know. All right, let's finish this tournament, which is another half an hour. The same top players in classical that are the same top in 960. Nope. Nope. Disagree with you there. Also, do you have any idea what you're talking about when you say top players? I don't think you have an exact idea of what you meant by that. There are 3 categories in chess: blitz, rapid, and classical. If you look at the rankings, they are not the same in every category. The top players are what? Top 10, top 20, top 50, top 100. Fischer chess is not popular yet. And if you looked at the events that were run recently, they're finally running this final event on Fischer chess. I forgot where. Was it Africa or because the one that they tried to do, it was cancelled, yeah. But they actually found another location, which I'm pretty happy with. That they did found something. But you know, the players who were playing in the Fischer chess events, they were not exactly the same best players. So I would say you were exaggerating kind of a little bit. All right, let's grab more center. Why not? Why not? I mean, knight f6 and castling was also fine, but if your opponent allows you to grab center, you should grab it, ideally. This knight goes to e7 because this knight might go to f6 and this knight goes to g6. So one of the things, important things in chess is like to figure out where your knights are going. Sometimes it depends on that. So this, and then what? Can I close your bishop? What if I close your bishop, sir? I'm talking about this bishop. Yeah, I probably have to play that. Yeah, I can probably close him playing like this, which probably should have done before on the previous move if I wanted to do this. I was just not sure if I wanted to do this or not. Okay, I think I gotta do it, yeah. I think I've got to do it. Who is my favorite modern player to watch? Rapport is definitely fun. I think Gukish is getting too much criticism. He's just a kid. Yes, he got lucky in the candidates, but he won fair and square. Yes, he's still learning. And he's just a kid. Like, why do people expect him to be a Magnus? He's not a Magnus. He didn't beat Magnus. He beat Ding, which does not mean he is worse. Maybe he will be like Magnus, but give him time. Give him time. Knight to d2. Okay, makes sense. Rook to the open files. It's still not easy to win this, yeah? I mean, I have an obvious advantage, but he is like extremely... Well, I think he just misplayed it, but okay. This bishop e2 was really bad. The reason it's bad because this thing is coming here to hit everything, which is why the second and the seventh row are called the buffet. Okay, because once rook gets there, all the pawns on that row, they're subject to eradication with prejudice. Why would anybody even bring Gotham into discussion? He is not a grandmaster, first of all. Second of all, he is not a strong player. So I don't get that. Okay, here. It's actually a very interesting move. So let me play this. So I eliminate this entry square here. Now we take. That's why I needed the king, so the rook does not enter here. So when you're asking about top modern players and then you mention Levy, you kind of ruin the whole conversation. Rook on a6 is gonna get trapped. You gotta be very careful now. Now it's trapped. It will be eaten alive. Yes, Mr. Nefedov. There is probably English version of that, but I don't recall hearing it ever. But in Russian, yes, there is the subjornariat. Exactly. Correct. But in English, I haven't heard. There must be something similar though. I think I did hear somebody mention it as a sort of buffet or open buffet, yeah, but maybe once or twice. Queen to h5 with a very real intention of providing a mate on h7. It should not work, but it is extremely scary, yes. Black theoretically should have a defense to this, theoretically speaking. Although with the bishop on a8 closed, yeah, with this pawn chain, it's not like that bishop actually matters. So I can understand this, yeah. So white sacrificed knight for 2 pawns and for an attack. Very interesting. Good job. I'm impressed. Impressed, Mr. Rafael Bustamante. Very interesting strategic decision making. Okay, knights in the corners, which I absolutely can't stand. But what can we do about it? Alright. When rook protects the pawn, you know that pawn has to go. You know, that's when you know it. But may I ask, how are you going to protect the standard weakness here in Fischer chess? That's the problem when your knights have starting positions like this, because then this is always like this huge red target, you know, because suddenly there is a threat of mate in one move. So you gotta be aware of that, okay? That's why people play knight f6, then knight g6 and castle like really fast. All right, Mr. Magic, you're just having fun, aren't you? Steel Theory? Sure. Edward Lasker? Okay. But Edward Lasker was actually not a bad player. Yeah. Referring to the famous Edward Lasker versus George Alan Thomas after Queen h5. Oh, to be honest, I don't remember that. Guess we'll have to figure it out and check it out, yeah, at some point. All right, I'm a big fan of e4 and white wins. I'm speaking Fischer language. Fischer is language. Okay, knight out of the corner, that's fine. Then the real problem is like, should I play knight f3 or f3? Yeah, that's the biggest problem in this position. Yeah, I think it should be knight f3 still. It should be knight f3, yes. And the reason it is because Pavel just missed d4. Oh, not Pavel, Rafael. That's the danger of b6 when you have queen on a8 and king on c8 and your opponent has bishop on f1. There's this absolutely deadly check on a6. Okay. And you have to be aware. You have to really look at the starting position and be aware of cheapos like this. This is a cheapo, okay? Just like in a previous game, I had this knight h5 g7 cheapo. Those are the Fischer chess cheapos. But you gotta be aware of them. It's like, you know, this scholars may think in the classical chess, okay? Very close. It is very, very close to that. All right, so let's grab this thing. The one advantage of him blundering this is that now my queen is kind of not in the best situation here. That is true. It has certainly seen better days. Yeah. All right, so let's keep developing pieces. And hope for this queen to be able to enter the game in a different path. Yeah, this is probably unnecessary because now you help my queen to actually enter the game. Now you help my queen to enter the game. I mean, you can play h3 and knock this knight out, but why not just develop? Yeah. So let's just develop. See, I'm not doing anything special. Knights are developed, bishops are developed. Next thing, you castle here. All right, king is now safe, pieces are developed. And then you just start pushing all these things back, centralization, and you gotta do this anyway. I mean, yeah, you can play b4, sure. You can play this, force this bishop back, and use that legendary phrase of go back where you came from, spawn of heck or something. Or you can just centralize. Centralize your rooks, and then queen comes here. And since he allowed your rook to be here, you can move your bishop back, because bishops are best placed far, like in your camp. They're shooting far and they're protecting stuff while not being in the way. That is the best thing that the bishop can do. So queen to a4 looks logical. Okay, fine. Rook b3. Also logical. And now the queen is ready to go, yeah. Queen is ready to get out of that box. Simple chess is crushing. Well, because you have to get to this level of simplicity. It's not easy to achieve, yeah? It looks simple, but when you try to replicate it, you realize how much effort went into learning this simple thing. Simple looking thing. So these knights are fine. I mean, if I can play 45, I would be happy. But let's try to figure out what's Black's next move. He's like sort of semi-paralyzed. Okay, knight f5 looks good, yeah. Stops d6 and bishop takes. He can't really take it because then undoubled pawns will become very, very strong. So knight g8, okay, makes sense. So he can get rid of this knight, maybe. Maybe. It's not decided yet, yeah. So when he does, then I jump. So this knight is actually a pretty good piece. So maybe it's a good idea to trade him, yeah. Or that the rook has served its function here. Or the bishop maybe should be moved somewhere more active. Like here. So there are a lot of things here which are interesting. Also knight d4 with knight bishop b5 was not that bad. And again, bishop on c3 is actually not doing much, yeah. What I could do is play bishop here and push this pawn. And try to open this king. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Why does Akamenkos have a video referring to you as your coach? Did you coach her at some points? Yes. I was briefly your coach. Yes, sir. That was the case. But yeah, she was not happy that, you know, many years later she told me that she was not happy that I didn't teach her how to play London. To which I answered I didn't want to teach her bad things. Because London is not a great opening. Let's be real. London is not the greatest opening in the world. I mean, it's playable for sure, but if you're playing for an advantage, you shouldn't be playing it. It's a trick opening, I would say. Trick opening. It does work. It does, yeah, it does work. All right, queen e3. Sometimes, but at this point everybody has it analyzed. Oh, bishop h6, which I missed. Okay, good. Good, thanks. Queen e2. See, my bishop on c3 is not doing anything, yeah? Except defensive action. So we gotta fix that, yeah, at some point. All right, let's get this queen somewhere. Somewhere, anywhere but here. Okay. Next, we finally get this bishop somewhere where he can do real work. No, but your bishop is hanging, man. When your opponent makes a move, ask yourself always a question. What does my opponent want with his last move? Then you'll realize that this bishop actually is hitting something. Okay. Yeah, you can do that. You got a little bit lucky there. You got a little bit lucky there, buddy. But still, not as lucky as you want to be, because this bishop is trapped. Ah, you want to play this? Okay, let's That's fine. By the way, if you're watching Nemsko channel, then you know that she recently actually modeled for the first time on an official runway in some big thing, yeah? So congratulations for her success. Yeah. She's trying different things, so it's good. Good to see. You should try different things in your life for sure. For sure. You're enjoying the tiniest videos. Thank you. Tomorrow I'm gonna do I'm gonna start the second World Chess Championship match. I was thinking how many games a day should I do. Yesterday we did like 3 final games. It was a little bit too much. Probably 2 games is the max. And then there is the idea to do the one contemporary player of the era that didn't make it into the World Chess Championship match. So, but that is a lot of stuff, a lot of time, and I don't know if I have energy to do that. I will, however, consider going over the material. If you want me to look at some particular players, you can send me some of their favorite games that you like, and you know, we can go over those games. Yeah, I'll try to, you know, find some specific games of each player that I can find. Some players I don't like just personally, but okay, it doesn't matter. Jem Kajdan, my god, that's a name I haven't heard a lot. To say that much, extremely rare name actually. Wow. All right. Yeah, you guys, if you have some suggestions, feel free to send it to my email, okay? Or to my Lichess with the link to the game. Lichess actually has an excellent database with the ancient games. I'm actually very glad they saved me a lot of time with that. So if you can find that game, if you have some suggestions, if you think it's going to be instructive, useful, and maybe, you know, once I go over that game, maybe even you can discover something new about your favorite player. Send your suggestions and links to, you know, to me here on Lichess, okay? I'll check it. And if I decide to put that game in to, you know, into a stream to analyze it, I'll make sure to mention your name. Yes, Pavel, I'm waiting for the end of the tournament so I can check your game. Yes, I remember. Queen f3, what a sneaky move. And bam, the pawn on f5 is gone, yeah. It's kind of important pawn too. It's crazy. Queen f3, right in front of the f2 pawn, keeping the bishop on g1 closed. But hitting that double attack on b7 and f5, yeah. And now black is just completely bastamente, yes. All right, guys, thank you all for coming for the Fischer Chess Arena. We're gonna take a quick look at what happened to Pavel's weekend game. And of course, he played versus the London, the dreaded London system. Okay, but Pavel, I mean, did I not mention the system that you should play against London? If they play bishop f4 on the second move, you should actually play this. And then you should play this, and you should play this line, okay? Because now you can play bishop f5. And then there is g5, bishop g3, bishop g7. It's good for black. The second very useful line is this one. This, okay. Normally they play knight f3, okay? If they play Kramnik move order, knight d2, then you should play this. And you should go for this line. This is, okay, bishop h6, you win a tempo. Because you castle and then you play b6. Easy game for you. It's like you get Benko gambit, except you get working bishop, pair of bishops, and you get full compensation, okay? It's just draw. I mean, black has very comfortable game. Comfortable game. That's the second way. Okay? The third way is to play bishop d6. Alright, but let's see what you've done. c6, c3. Okay, c3, queen b6. Yeah, you can play like this too, for sure. Knight d7. Knight h5 is fine. Grab the bishop, very good. I'm not sure why did you take the queen? There is no rush. You can play e6, yeah? Or you can play actually h6 and keep this bishop alive if you want to. You kind of need this h6 later for g5 threat. Force this h4 and then you fix h5, yeah? Or something. I mean, if you take the queen, first of all, your pair of bishops become not really relevant in this close position, and then he gets very strong b4, knight b3, c5, b5 ideas. Yeah, this is clearly not what I wanted to see. Yeah, Pavel, so this queen b3 I really don't like, okay? Yeah, g6, bishop g7 or e6 is fine, yeah? Just don't trade the queens. You should never take on b3. You should never take this queen, especially in a Slav structure. Because after this, you're just worse now. Okay, got lucky he played this ridiculous move. Then you're better, yeah? Yeah, you're just better. So there are several ways to play this position. One and the most obvious is to play e5. Second is to try to get this a5 going, but e5, you have pair of bishops, you need to open your position. Second way to play this is to play this move. This pawn structure is good for you because his pieces are not getting here to e5, okay? And you have pair of bishops, you have potential this thing on the f file, and you do want to play this move, okay? So like knight f3 here, king d2, yeah, you play this, and you're a little bit better. You can even trade this bishop, yeah. Because this pawn structure is better than this pawn structure, okay, especially with this pawn, because this will be kind of weak. I mean, it's not winning, but okay. So g5 or e5, okay, take your pick. Bishop h3, I'm not sure why you play that. There is no threat. Okay, now you play e5. Okay, good. f4. Bishop f6, okay. Rook a6, king c7. Come on, you have to play king c7. You gotta bring your king here. You know that, man. So your rook is free to go. You gotta bring your king here for sure. I don't know, you were afraid of this maybe? Okay, I admit it's not easy to see this move. Everybody sees this move? This is very instructional because your king hits this rook, okay? So this move is possible. Okay, maybe b5, yeah. With the idea of c5, then white is winning, of course. But of course, you take this thing. And then the question is, what are you gonna do here? Probably the bishop comes to e4 before he puts this bishop back here. Second thing is you maintain this tension. So if like bishop here, then you gotta play this. You cannot allow bishop f3, of course. So he moves his rook, then you immediately play this. And you're a little bit worse. It's defensible. So, I really don't like this move. But okay, it's still playable. Rook b7, bishop f3, bishop e6 is fine. g5, b5, yeah. Okay, good. If you take with the king, guess what? Check, right? Good. So you saw that, you played this, and what did you do here? Take on f4. All right. And you are now winning because he should have taken this pawn. Yeah, agreed. This is not bad. But here is the situation that you must analyze more deeply. Yeah. You have pair of bishops, you just managed to set open his king, which is huge thing. But what can you do about it? Yeah. So bishop h3, rook e8, rook e1. One of the obvious mating motives, but you need time for that. Yeah. And I don't think you're gonna get it. So rook e3, this is the key piece for white. He protects the king, controls a lot of squares and hits your pawn. So this is the first piece that should be eliminated. So knight d4, bishop h3, knight d4 stops this rook d1, d5, and there is a huge threat of rook g8, take, check and take, yeah. So this move, rook g8, he cannot play this because of mate, and the threat is rook f3. So this had to be calculated, and apparently this is huge threat. And white must be very, very creative here. He must find this move to protect the bishop. And then white is kind of paralyzed, yeah. So this was a critical moment. You got him on the ropes, let's put it that way. Yeah, you played it, okay, good. And bishop h3. Oh, so that was your game actually, okay, excellent. You found it, good. Take, take. Oh. Okay, but still winning. Check here. Wait. Did you just agree on a draw in a completely winning position? My god, dude. Why did you do that? Okay, but it's impossible to see king d3 here, yeah? Very hard. I understand. And then this bishop g2 is coming, yeah? Or rook a2. Okay, bishop g4. Okay. Hard, but you can do it, man. Come on, I believe in you. And king e3. Beautiful. Beautiful king activation. In fact, this is one of the best demonstrations on how active king joining the mating attack is absolutely critical in winning the game. You played beautifully this part of the game. I mean, just when you're winning, just the moment when you completely outplayed him and get your advantage, you're winning. That's when you're kind of chickened out a little bit, yeah. Even this move wins, yeah. But you need to see the mate, yeah, which is not easy. And the mate is this. Thanks to your king again, there is this mate. So he must play this, and then there is check. And you can grab this rook. Or win more material, yeah. Yeah, so Pavel, I understand. You played really well, man. When he gave you a chance, you pounced it, and you got a winning position. So, and then you took a draw in a winning position. All you had to do is calculate it. So, I see no problem here. Yeah, probably it was time, yeah. Probably it was time factor. But you played really well. 70 seconds. Yeah, okay, but 70 seconds, that's... You should be able to calculate it. Come on. King d3, bishop g4. Yeah. I mean, you obviously knew that there was something, yeah? There was a mate. You had to be there. So, it's just calculation skills. So, more calculation exercises, practice, and it's practice, okay? Practice and not getting to time trouble. Again, even grandmasters, strong grandmasters, they blunder when they're in time trouble. Reshevsky. Time trouble was the reason why Reshevsky didn't become the world champion. He had 3 winning positions out of 4 against Botvinnik. Okay, much better, not winning. But because of the time trouble, he lost like 2 of them. Okay, I think maybe even 3. So, solution, don't get into time trouble. That's the best solution. The second advice is practice your calculation. All right. I mean, you repeat the position twice, yes, and then you have 70 seconds, and then you calculate for 40 seconds, okay? Because you have to be exact. Because if you mess up and he runs out of this mating net, this pawn is dangerous, this rook and the other rook, yeah, sure, it looks pretty dangerous. I mean, if you miscalculate, you can actually lose this game, yeah. But with pieces all coordinating an attack, there should be like at least a perpetual check somewhere. The king way too open and pair of bishops and rooks unopposed, yeah. So the best advice: don't get into time trouble. Do not get into time trouble. You will blunder and you will mess up, and in this case, you will take a draw in a winning position. Okay, gentlemen, that's it for today. Thank you for guys coming, and I'll see you tomorrow for the start of the second World Chess Championship match. The French team won today thanks to Fressine's win. That's for the European Championship. I tried to take a look at it, but the broadcast was locked. Now it's open. And where is it? European Senior Championships. No. There it is. So, the French guys, they won the match, yes. So, for the French team, we have Marc-André, the current French champion, who drew his good buddy Darha. They're like really good buddies. They've been buddies like for several years at least. Darha is also playing for our team, for our club. So they know each other like so well. Laurent Fressinet, who is Marc-André's coach for the last 2 years. was instrumental in winning today's match, because the other guys drew. This guy was extremely lucky to draw. He was lost. He got outplayed in the endgame, and I don't know how he drew. And Lagarde did not manage to beat the 2300 player. So the important thing, our team won the match, okay? The first games, they are usually messy, okay? But after the first two games, the players now get into the rhythm. They understand the form they're in, you know, the brain working, the preparation, the energy levels. They all factor that in, and then they adapt, okay? That's how the professionals deal with this. All right, gentlemen, 4 boards only. Yes, Anish Giri continues very strong, and today he outplayed Naidich, who was a legendary German theoretical player, but he had so many conflicts with the German Federation. He quit the Federation and went to Azerbaijan for a while, and now he represents actually Bulgaria. I have no idea how he ended up there. That must be one hell of a story for sure. The Wonder Kid Keimer, he didn't beat this Bier guy. He was better, but then at some point he was actually worse. And in the end, I think he was very lucky to make a draw. So when you have tournaments like this and Olympiads, there you will see where, you know, guys like solid 2500s, 2600s, they're actually very good players, and they can pose problems to 2700s. Okay, so I would not be surprised if we're gonna have some rating favorites lose some points here. Actually, I heard that Leko is gonna play for the first time in a long time, and he actually plays Hungary first board here. And he is actually also playing the World Cup. So it will be very nice to watch Peter now back in the classical chess after many, many years of not playing and being professional commentator. And now he is back to play over the board. Very interesting. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'm done. My brain is fried, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so party on, my friends, and see you tomorrow, gentlemen. All right, good night, everybody.